Good afternoon. Welcome to the crypto market updates. I'm your host, Allen Wazny, and across from me on the screen is Mark Magliocco from SwapAcross.
Right. Are we swapping across? Is that we're gonna swap across screens? That'd
You
be
know, we
interesting.
haven't. I don't know how to do that, Mark. I don't have the technology for that, but I do want to note out this is episode number 18 of the
Ooh,
crypto
lucky
Mark.
number.
You're actually crypto Mark, so we should correct a wrong. I want to mark my words that we're going to come across correctly. Gosh, we could really work playing words here, Mark. We want to swap.
Right.
We don't want to mix words here, Mark. We don't want to swap any proper words. But this is episode 18. All discussions in this episode are for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon as legal, business, investment, or tax advice. So, Mark,
Exactly.
it is what day is it? 14th of. We are in a cold snap up here in Calgary. What's the temperature down for you?
I heard, yeah, I saw some pictures. It looked pretty cold. I'm not gonna lie. Did not look
Minus 30,
enjoyable.
minus
That's,
37 as we
that's a good
speak
question.
overnight. Maybe. I think it's warmed up.
I'm not even sure. It is 29
Warmed up.
degrees
It's
today.
29. So we're the exact opposite. We're minus 28 Fahrenheit, Celsius.
Ew.
But apparently at minus 40, they even out. So right now we're minus 28 Celsius. So Mark, with no further ado, let's start looking. We're here to talk about a little bit of the ETFs and the Bitcoin ETF, but let's look at the price. Let's see what happened over the
Look at the
past
charts. Yeah, man.
Look
Okay,
at the chart.
let me share my screen here. Yeah. All right, there we go. You got me?
I can see that perfectly.
Yes.
Candlestick
All right.
Park used to be the San Francisco's baseball diamond.
Which?
Candlestick Park. So we're looking at the candlesticks. Remind me of Candlestick Park, San Francisco Giants baseball.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it kind of was really. I think everyone was expecting the price of Bitcoin to really hype it up, right? But
yeah,
on the news, but it does seem like very much a case of buy the rumors, sell the news to me. If you look at like the rumors started back here, right, back in like August of September, of this the ETFs being approved, and then just see it ripping, and then there was a lot of buy pressure last week, but it was also a lot of sell pressure. So someone definitely sold the news, which is pretty funny to me. But I mean, I don't think like long term it's gonna have an impact. It's just kind of consolidating. And I think like on the last podcast, I was saying, we're gonna see a red candle here pretty soon because it was just like, just all this bullish momentum.
That's right.
And
That's right.
so it is. It's not like a master red candle, but I think it's still got a little bit. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I think my
what they were
expectation.
saying, interesting enough, and there was a lot of discussion pre the ETFs being approved by the SEC. There was a lot of discussion that most Bitcoin holders were in the red or black, we're in the black, meaning people had bought at a price where today, the average, I don't know if it's the average or most people that were holding Bitcoin were in the black. So meaning this could have been a trigger point. A lot of people do to sell or sell off if they transferred over from the grayscale and into the ETF. So it doesn't surprise me that there was people that said, "Hey, I took this as an opportunity, as you said, sell the news. Let's take some off the table." And that I think that's confirmed by if you look at not the global, but the total market cap of crypto. Just before this was about 1.8 trillion. Now it's at 1.7. If you go to CoinMarketCap, so a little bit of money's been taken back into fiat or normal because that's all crypto, that's stable coins and so forth. So anyway, I'll let you continue because not surprising where we're at today.
No, I mean it's kind of that really kind of sums it up. So I think I think long term still very bullish, and whether people took some money off the table now or not, but I mean there's analysts that are calling for like they're saying 100,000 by the end of 2024, 200,000 by the end of 2025, and these are like I think it was like Citibank, like there was like big, like these are analysts from. They're not just like some random guy that's saying like, oh, I think Bitcoin's gonna go up to 200,000. No, it was like I can't remember which bank, but there was a couple banks I was reading. I'm like, wow, Citibank or whatever. I can't remember which bank. Don't quote me on Citibank, but it was something like that. And I was like, if they think that the price of Bitcoin's going up to 200,000 by 2025, like there's a good chance, So we'll see. we'll see what happens. And I think like it's going to consolidate probably by February, March. You'll see it back over 50,000. No matter, like probably by February, I would say 50,000. At some point in February, we'll see it back over 50,000. March, probably continuing on hitting all-time high would be my guess. And again, not financial advice, just my 2 bits on yeah.
No,
on the price of
it's
Bitcoin.
not 2 bits anymore. It's 2 satoshis. It's a
Two
partial Bitcoin.
satoshis. That's
Two
right.
satoshis. Your 2 bits
Yeah.
worth, your 2 cents worth, or now your 2 satoshis worth. So
Mhm.
for me, it was I don't know. It was a bit ambivalent when I saw that it had come down. I was kind of like, that's happy, kind of see, okay, there's this new entrance. There's a huge amount of new entrants in the market because folks that were in BlackRock now suddenly,
Mhm.
if they weren't trading the futures, the ETF futures or the Bitcoin futures before, they now have the opportunity to play in them almost a direct. Well, it is direct, right? It's a direct representation without holding Bitcoin. It's
Yep.
the next best thing, as I understand.
Yeah. I mean, if you're talking about playing futures,
Yeah. No, I'm saying
yeah.
if you own a BTF, well, they should call it a
Oh,
BTF, is what they should. If
yeah.
you own
Yeah.
a
Okay.
Bitcoin,
Okay. Oh,
you
I
own
thought
a
you had me confused with
BTC
the futures.
ETF, it's the next
Yeah.
best thing, right? It's better than the
Oh,
futures.
it's essentially like, I mean, you don't actually, and someone had brought up a good point, and they're saying like how these ETFs work is like the the fund itself holds all the Bitcoin.
Yes. Yes.
So it's not like you don't physically own any Bitcoin. You just invest your money into this
That's right.
fund, which then is holding the Bitcoin, right? So it's not
Yeah.
like you actually hold any Bitcoin. Versus like, if you went into DeFi or like actually went on, an exchange, like a crypto exchange, bought Bitcoin, put the Bitcoin in your
That's right.
wallet, then you actually
That's right.
hold Bitcoin, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
It was interesting. So if you, I know you got an article, some articles teed up, but I'm looking back, the defining moment for the ETFs was that lawsuit that Grayscale filed against
SEC.
the SEC, and in
Yeah.
it they said like BTC, they were holding BTC, Grayscale,
Yeah.
they were holding and they were a significant discount
Hmm.
from the market. It's because of
Right.
this holdup, because of the holdup with getting the ETF approved and so forth. So that's just interesting. They were a proximity, like MicroStrategy. See one of your other ones. All they do is exist to hold crypto or Bitcoin. So they should
Hmm.
be, they're by extension, their price or their value per share should be very similar to the Bitcoin price. And there's been a not prohibitively, but there's been predominantly a discount for these companies who are predominantly holding Bitcoin. So anyway,
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that. I mean, the MicroStrategy one's pretty fun. We'll get into that maybe. I was gonna maybe start with the ETF one, just since we're on the subject of ETFs, of course.
yeah,
So yeah, Bitcoin ETFs, and like the thing is, I was expecting more, to be honest, that there was gonna be more inflows, because I think when they originally were talking about it, they're saying they were expecting 50 to 100 billion inflows into Bitcoin with the
yeah,
approval of these spot ETFs. I don't know if they meant like immediately or whatever, but I mean, I think I read like BlackRock now is up to almost half of like 500 million around there worth of
sure.
Bitcoin, and that's like over a few days, right? But yeah, I mean, I was kind of expecting more, but I guess 4.5 billion to start, not too bad.
Before you jump, I want to. So you just reminded me. There was just towards the end of last year, there was a year-end wrap-ups, and they were talking about some of the play up to what will happen when they get approved. Is now you
Mhm.
have 11 companies, major companies, who've got the approval, and so what's happened will happen in the months and days after, months, weeks, whatever it is after, will be marketing to the base. Like you and I have been following the news for a while, for the last
Mhm.
year or two, but others haven't. Like traditional finance houses, they haven't. The trillions, like the people at Vanguard, that we can talk about. I don't know if you've got Vanguard teed up, but the ones that aren't allowed to get into crypto, they're going to go, okay, yeah, I'm kind of curious, right? The crypto curious
Mhm.
will now have an opportunity. They don't have to buy Bitcoin, and they can go to one of the 11 and get an ETF and participate that way. So to me, it's like now the marketing starts. The weddings happen. Now the honeymoon is, let's parade this thing out to the traditional finance houses or whoever.
Yeah, very true. Very, very true. And that's actually a good segue into the next article, which, what? What the hell?
You got the same one. That looks like the exact
Oh,
same article, Mark.
that is the exact same article. Oh, what happened? Sorry.
So what were-
The article I did want to show was it was so basically they're just saying like how all like now it's wide like readily available all these ETFs, so you can
yeah,
buy on like traditional brokers, right? So like Robinhood, Fidelity,
that's right.
TD Ameritrade, so you can actually go on all these, and like good segue into what you were just saying about, now it's like marketing to, the average traditional investor that potentially wasn't really invested or involved in Bitcoin before, but now it's kind of like, oh well, it's a one click on TD Ameritrade or Fidelity or Charles Schwab, which Schwab was the other one.
Yeah.
There's a few there, like TD Ameritrade,
Well, if you
Robinhood,
can find
right?
that article, because I want to talk a little bit about the Bloomberg guys, because it's kind of like they were the Bloomberg, Eric Balchunas, and I can't remember the other fellow, Eric Saneff or somebody. They literally they said this is now the opportunity for people that were on the sidelines or never weren't sure, but the ETF. First of all, this is a unprecedented numbers of ETFs for one sort of, I guess, like a commodity or whatever you want to call it. And this getting the ETFs, these all 11 at once. Again, I'm not an ETF
Yeah,
guy,
it's massive, right?
but there's rarely been this much
Yeah.
fanfare, and so many players come to the table all at once for an ETF. So that's going to be, that'll, as you mentioned, the Robin Hoods of the world, people got those accounts. Suddenly they're going to be, the crypto curious. It'll be a lot easier to participate in the crypto.
Oh,
With
what the
less
hell?
risk, I guess, per se, per seemingly less risk.
Right. For whatever reason, I don't know what's going on here, man. It just does not want to. What is going on here? I don't
Well,
know.
Mark, I don't know
I was
the
trying to
article
find
you're
it.
talking about. Well, let's try to. Do you have another? You got the
Yeah, I got
Terra.
some more here. I don't know. I don't know what is going. Yeah, what? This is the article. Like, why does it keep popping up this different thing? I don't understand.
Okay,
Okay,
so
wait. Oh, that is the article. Okay, I guess this is it. All right. Okay. Yeah. So you can just let's scroll down. It's basically talking about like what is an ETF and how does it work. So maybe a good article, but so it's talking about where you can actually buy all these ETFs. So
yeah,
BlackRock's, which is only listed on Fidelity, Grayscale, which I mean that's an old one, so I don't know whether you're including that. But ARK was a good one. So look at ARK's. It's on like Charles Schwab, Chase, E-Trade, Fidelity, TD Ameritrade, Webull. So you can buy like
even
on any of
SoFi.
those traditional brokerage. Yeah.
Yeah.
The name rings a bell. I haven't actually used it before,
Well,
but
SoFi Stadium, right? That's the. I think it's in San Francisco. SoFi Stadium. SoFi was set up, I think, to provide financing for university students, or social. I think it was social finance house. And the reason I know about SoFi, or at least I'd heard about them the first time, was way back when I was in Qatar, and the Qatar Investment Authority had put down 500 million into that SoFi. I don't know what that today, but SoFi Stadium, I believe it's one of the football stadiums in San Francisco, in the Bay Area. I'd have to confirm that. So
interesting. Yeah, that's a good chunk of change. 500 mil. All right. Well, continuing on, I guess we can talk about MicroStrategy. So back to what you were saying, where like a lot of these companies were discounted. So this is I thought was hilarious because like so MicroStrategy, which if Michael Saylor, he's like a Bitcoin
yeah, that's right.
evangelist.
Maximalist, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can like look the company now just because it's not realized gains, it's unrealized gains is
Yeah.
worth 1 billion more than the actual company itself. So it's like
It's
what?
ridiculous, right?
So the
Because
Bitcoin
if
that
you
they're holding
break
is
up
worth
the
more than
company, right,
yeah.
you're gonna have more than the value. It's stupid. The assets
Well,
are
that's
worth
what it
more
is.
than the
They've
market
got
cap.
they got 8.7 billion worth of Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And I think like I can't remember the unrealized gains. Oh God, I read I don't think they have it in this article, but I read somewhere. Um,
I heard
I
they were
don't
around
know.
19,000. See, these are one of the ones where they quote when they say when people are in the black, right? They
Right.
were their average. I think their average price was somewhere around 16, 17,000, which would have been a year ago. But because the guy was talking about how they showed. I think you can get the information. Their average price. They bought early on in 5, 6, or whatever it was, or they bought some at 30,
Yeah.
and some at
They
15,
had
5, 10, whatever. I don't know if it goes into that article, but some of the guys, the black,
No, not in this. There was like another article I had, or maybe it was a Twitter or something. I can't remember, but it was yeah, it was a post that I saw about. I think they were up like God, I mean, it was like 5 billion or something. I think like or 4 billion was
yeah.
unrealized gains, something like that. But yeah, I just thought
But
it
you
was
know,
funny though, like
you
the
know,
company.
now just talking about that when we talk about Bitcoin, right, and then that ETF,
Mhm.
the futures,
Oh,
they
there you
had
go. They're
approved
up
the future. They had
49%
approved
on its.
that. Sorry.
They're up 49% on its Bitcoin purchases to date. So half of
Okay,
that,
so
yeah.
there,
So it's about four
yeah.
billion. Yeah. So half of that is gains, right? Which is crazy.
So I was just saying what I wanted to say about the ruling. This is the whole dilemma with the SEC because
Hmm.
the SEC had already approved the futures, the futures ETF or whatever they call it, Bitcoin futures, right, in
Hmm.
2021. So that was a dilemma
Yeah.
they had. So you're doing this, you're messing the market. So if you read some of that literature, they were literally within themselves. They were hypocrites, not hypocrites, but they were going against the rule of law, and they this politics was caught up. So it was interesting to read some of the when Gensler approved it. It was kind of like this moment of he come to has it come come to fruition or what, not fruition, but literally come called to, that he just said that he's admitted they're wrong, even if his own personal feelings were. He's still anti crypto, right? He's still anti Bitcoin. So
Yeah. I mean, these guys are just ridiculous, just to me, and like, just they
okay,
just
so what
kind
else
of.
have you got? Mark Terra Luna's back on. Didn't they have that big scandal a
Yeah,
couple
yeah,
of
but
years ago?
actually, all right, I'll end with that one. So I was gonna say this one I thought was interesting. So the Near Foundation, so Near Protocol is a layer one,
Yeah,
and I was just kind of, there's so many layer ones out there. And all right, when I went further into the article, it's not like apparently they're not bankrupt. They're saying like, they still got 285 mil in fiat and like 1 billion worth of Near tokens, 70 million. So apparently they're not bankrupt, is what the article's saying. They're just like redirecting their focus or whatever. But it just made me think like there's so many layer ones out there that like, if no one's using them, if no one's building on them, they're
yeah.
kind of like they're just kind of waiting around to, become toast, right? So it's very interesting. I think Near's got like I can't remember if they're into like gaming or whatever, but and I think the problem is a lot of it with these layer ones, like if they're not EVM based, so like Ethereum based, they all kind of have their own code that developers need to learn to be able to code on those layer ones, right?
Yeah,
And that's a
yeah.
major deterrent from, bringing community and bringing developers to the network, right? But anyway, I thought that was interesting and just kind
Anyway,
of.
going back to that, last week, Mark, I talked about one of Bitcoin, one providing Bitcoin those the they're ETFs but on Bitcoin. I know they're yeah, gosh, I'm getting NFTs for Bitcoin.
Right,
Those
right. Oh yeah, yeah. The ordinals.
ordinals, right? So I mean
Yeah.
that's there sort of seems to be a camp focused on
Hmm.
building on the Bitcoin blockchain. And as you're right, there's a lot of layer twos that are more functional, they're more cost effective. But it
Hmm.
seems like with the Lightning Network and some of the people building around Bitcoin, as the price goes up, and there was an article I made reference to before, one of the VCs had said, he says, as the price goes up, there'll be more building on the price of Bitcoin. There'll be more building
Right.
infrastructure, the payment rails, allowing things to be more efficient, more effective. So there's just
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I'm in the camp that I can never see Bitcoin, and it's just my own personal opinion, but I can never see it being used as a form of payment, at least in its current state. It's too volatile. There's too many like the network itself is super expensive to do any transactions on there. It's crazy. It's like, yeah, but who knows? I mean, what the future
but the
holds.
fraction side, see the fractional side of it allows, if you can, for minor payments, if you can do the 10 decimals or whatever it is, right? The fractional element of it is still worth making that trend as long as, but the cost is if it's too prohibitive in terms
Well,
of
that's the thing. I mean, to do like a transaction on Bitcoin on the layer one Bitcoin network, it's like $100 to do a transaction on
yeah,
there. So I
yeah.
mean, like, You know,
You're right.
what you're not going to buy a chocolate bar at the store and paying $100 in fees, right? Like,
Well, no, the article
yeah.
said it took 10,000 for those two pizzas. I think it was 10,000 Bitcoin. That was the price, right? It
Oh
was
yeah,
trading,
God,
right?
yeah,
If you
yeah,
think
yeah.
about
That
it,
was
back in the day. So,
insane. You're right.
all right.
Yeah, now worth like 400 million. Insane. Anyway, yeah, so that's that one. And the last one, this guy, good old Do Kwon. I was wondering what happened to him. You know, he was kind of, remember, I don't know if you remember, but he was doing like those Twitter kind of like live Twitter post feed stuff, and he was like egging on the regulators or law enforcement kind of shit. You know, like, you can't catch me, and then he got caught. But
I don't remember that. I do remember they couldn't catch him. They couldn't find him. So where is he now?
yeah, he was
Where's
but he was coming like live on Twitter Spaces and stuff, and like just like smack talking.
Yeah.
But he was yeah. So anyway, it's funny. Like, he got arrested. He was in Montenegro, of all places, and he got arrested. But he must be like bribing them off because they were supposed to extradite him, and then it got canceled. So now they're having like court without him, basically, and like trying him without him being there. And now he's like, it's just like a whole, jeez, whole thing.
Kwon
And
was
the dude,
arrested
like,
at the
he is
Montenegro airport.
guilty, right? What's that?
So they caught him at the Montenegro airport.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, attempting to travel with
That's in the
forged
Balkans,
documents.
right? That's just down.
What kind of innocent person does that, you know?
They were part of the former Yugoslav Republic, Montenegro. So interesting.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah.
He's chosen to go there. All right,
Yeah.
so that's it for the articles.
That's it for the articles.
A
Yeah.
little light for the
sharing.
week. I did manage to find two. Let me just find my screen here. I did manage to find two funding announcements, which let's just start with here. Share that. Okay. So two companies I found, and basically one in Dubai.
Well, where's the PowerPoint? There's no PowerPoint today?
No PowerPoint today, Mark. We are going with a Cole's notes. Joe's notes. So Eesee, Dubai startup that provides sellers of digital assets, tokens, and I don't even know what RWAs are. Do you know what RWAs?
Real world assets.
Real world
assets.
So
it's like tokenizing real world assets. So like a house or something like that, right?
Okay. This is back to that hybrid. Oh no, that's not the same as the hybrids having a. So real world assets. Okay, with a gamified marketplace they can use to sell. They raised 2.85 million. I think it was seed. And I want to go to the article now. Let me see if I can find the article. Not that I'll stop sharing that. So Eesee.
Eesee.
Eesee. Let's see if I can find the article. I hate this because it's not kind of what I want. No, it's not. It's not going to do it, Mark. Mark.
Yeah.
Mark my words.
I knew that was coming. I knew it was coming. That's all right.
This is not going to help. Okay, so that's Eesee, and then but I like again. So there's like
SevenX
Ventures.
The article right underneath, isn't it like strictly VC? Isn't that the article?
Oh, it's right here, Mark. I don't care what they say about you, Mark. Google Ads. Close it.
Mark my words.
You see it, right? Can you see it?
There it is.
Eesee. There it is. The raise included 1.1 million seed and some private. But I like this BasementDAO. I like to find out what BasementDAO. But you and I talked about this. Like, when I look at these funding announcements, if you drill down onto some of these venture capital companies, right? They're investing in it's kind of latest edge, leading edge stuff, right? Vova Self-Corp. Eesee is a one-stop liquidity solution for sellers of digital assets, tokens, and real-world assets. Thank you, Mark. Sellers can create a customized gamified drop, such as a decentralized on-chain raffle, to effectively sell an asset above the current floor price. For buyers, raffles can include action-based entries where participation in the raffle is determined by comparing certain tasks. So, I mean, it's just people are getting so creative now, Mark.
Yeah, it's just like, how do you get people interested in your product, right? And that's kind of what it is, But interesting. I'd be curious to check it out when it's ready. Eesee.
So that's Eesee. Okay, so
man,
last one.
Like that just seems stupid to me. Like, that is such a hard name to remember. Like it's like 2 E's, an S, and 2 E's. Like, I'm gonna forget that. Like, I want to be typing
Eesee.
in
You know what it could be? It could be pronounced easy.
Yeah, but
it's probably easy.
Yeah, it's like that's so easy to forget though. Like, if you're doing a Google search,
you just said it's easy to forget. Oh, that's it.
Like,
it's easy to forget. Easy. Pontem. So Pontem, don't pontificate over this one, but a 7-year-old Singapore startup, Pontem, whose
Yeah.
platform enables developers to build and test applications for blockchains like Aptos
Wow.
and Sui. I mean,
Lots of money
this is
behind those. Yeah.
these are layer to 6 million, Mark. And look at this. Shima,
For 6
Kraken
million for
Ventures,
seed, man, that's insane. And it's like, you know
Lightspeed
what?
Ventures, and Lightspeed are not traditional. The Pantera is a traditional
Yeah.
blockchain, or
Aptos Foundation.
Aptos. I've never heard of Aptos. Have you heard of
No,
Aptos?
it's a layer one blockchain network.
Oh, is it?
Wintermute's they're like market makers, but I guess they must be doing investing as well. Shima
I've seen
Capital, I've
no,
seen
Mark.
them.
I've seen mute winter mute. Put your mute on,
Yeah,
Mark. I don't want to hear about this winter mute. I've seen them on a couple capitals. Shima Capital, I've seen them on, and then
yeah,
of course
same.
Kraken Ventures. Right.
Yeah.
That's There's something there. If you bring in somebody like Lightspeed, who are not traditional VCs in the crypto space. So let's take a quick look at the article. Web3
Mm-hmm.
developer platform Pontum raises 6 million to expand beyond Aptos and Sui. Have you heard of the Sui
Okay.
blockchain? Have you heard of it?
Sui?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that's a big money. It's backed by a lot of big VCs, like TradFi VCs too and stuff.
Okay.
It's got a lot of money behind it.
I just not even going to go into the details because 6 million is a lot of money. A lot of money to hire developers. They can play
For
around with
seed.
that for a while. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And the
So
thing is, like, I wonder how these guys, like, how do these, like, these products make money, right? Because it's like they've got this suite of products for developers, but like, how do they actually make money? You know, unless they're gonna launch a token or something, who knows? Anyway.
well, look. It says the fundraising follows Pontum's 4 million seed raise. So they've raised total of 10 million to date. What are they doing? We're excited for the project as they enabled mass adoption on next generation blockchains. I mean, Pantera is excited to be investing into Pontum and help fuel the move and Aptos ecosystem. We believe the team has been doing a tremendous job of building the necessary financial and technical infrastructure to bring consumer. This is it, right? If you're bringing consumers and developers to the decentralized web, so it's I guess
Well,
just getting.
that's what I was saying before, because like Sui and Aptos have a different coding language, right? Than EVM, so then Solidity. So it's like they must be trying to get people to be able to code on their network.
I can't say, Mark. I mean, this is amazing. Like, there's so many people building, but who's using? And that's it. The mass adoption, right? I mean, the blockchain one, or the Bitcoin ETF is clear. You're just going to get people buying, trading, and that's kind of normal TradFi. Well, let's before we end here, Mark. What's happening with SwapAcross? What news can we bring to the market on that? Do you have any updates for the two listeners out
Yeah,
there?
hopefully website coming out this week. And yeah, otherwise everything else to be announced, man. Stay tuned.
So the new
Lots of good
logo
stuff.
is going to get the new website with SwapAcross.
Yeah.
Any updates? So the tech, Magnus hasn't been out there doing anything exciting on the tech. We'll have to see another demo one of these days.
Yeah, we've been working on some stuff. I mean, like social logins, gasless swaps and stuff like that, gasless transactions, but nothing to share yet. So, but
Okay.
yeah, website first and foremost this week coming. Stay tuned.
All right, Mark. Have a great week. Let's
All right,
next
buddy.
time ready for some net. We got to start fitness first. Fitness first, Mark.
Fitness
No more
first. All
days
right,
off.
next week. I promise.
All right. Have a good
All
one.
right, later, buddy.
See you, Mark.
Bye.